We've got the all-new Toyota Land Cruiser.
Too much hype? Worth the cost? Let's find out. We're cruising in the Land Cruiser.
Good acceleration.
A bit buzzy. We're going to talk about that in a moment. The most hyped car of the year, maybe, for us to drive. What's under the hood of the Land Cruiser?
A 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder with a hybrid system. It's matched to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It gets a combined 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. Standard, full-time four-wheel drive, and premium fuel is required.
Did you say premium fuel is required?
I certainly did.
It's going to stack up to be a spendy proposition with this one. All right, so Land Cruiser, we are not in the base model. What do you get with the base model Land Cruiser?
The base trim comes with a 7-inch driver display, an 8-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 6-speaker audio system, cloth upholstery, heated front seats, 6-way manual front seats, heated steering wheel, 2-zone automatic climate control, and Toyota Safety System 3.0.
Lots of buttons. I appreciate that. Drive mode. What are we going to put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes and to get a question in. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. So we mentioned it just a moment ago. The four-cylinder that's matched to the hybrid system does have a bit of a thrashy sound and isn't as smooth as you might expect. That's one thing I'm noticing about the driveline, is that that part of it is not that smooth. But the hybrid, man, that thing's quick.
Yeah, it's quick, but you're right. You know, there's actually a lot of noise that kind of trickles into the cabin when under hard acceleration. It's surprising. I thought it would be a little bit quieter, but I would say that acceleration on the highway and passing power is excellent with this. Accelerating from a stoplight is very good.
Yeah, the tip-in response, you just put your foot into the throttle and boy, you want to change lanes or get away from somebody. That is fantastic, and that's where the electric motors come in, and that is very satisfying. Just the noise is a bit odd.
The Land Cruiser is built in Japan on the TNGA-F platform. It shares it with other Toyota trucks. This handles like a truck. If you're looking for something more refined, you're not going to find it with the Land Cruiser. It doesn't eat up all of those imperfections in the road, but it's exactly what I expect from a body-on-frame SUV, and I love it.
You know what? The initial damping over those slight imperfections is actually pretty good. It's when you get over the bigger bumps, then you feel it running through the truck chassis. So this is shared with the Tacoma, the Tundra, also the GX, and other new vehicles they're going to have as well. So it's trucky. It's pickup truck based. You can feel it. And when I forgot, the 4Runner that's going to be coming this fall. Where you notice the softness of the suspension is when you get it into the corners. It's top heavy.
Yeah,
you certainly feel that.
And the steering feels quite good. It's not too light at all. You know, something like the Highlander, I'll use that as an example, has very light steering. This actually feels quite good. There's good feedback. Braking is good as well. You know, not too mushy, not too sensitive brakes. I like how Toyota has tuned this model. And the 8-speed automatic transmission shifts smoothly.
Yeah, so we're looking at this as a daily, right? You're using it as your regular car. There's going to be loads of channels that take this off-road and beat on it. That we're just looking at it as what is it like as a family vehicle. So little thrashy with the engine, power is fantastic, and overall really comfortable to drive.
And I think most people are just going to drive this in the city, on the highway, as their family vehicle. I bet you most will not take this off-road.
Now, speaking of off-roading, it does come standard with downhill assist control, crawl control, that's like low-speed cruise control, a locking rear differential, anti-lock braking system, and available multi-terrain select.
Most of the feedback we've been getting on Instagram from viewers is that they love the retro look of this Land Cruiser. Super iconic. Toyota did such a great job with the styling.
This is the one I would get. I like what is referred to, and when we talk about the middle trim with the rectangular headlamps, I like this color. This is the one I would get, just like this. And you have that battle internally with yourself. Are you going to get the one with the round headlamps or the rectangular headlamps? That's for you to decide.
So the base model, the 1958, gets the round headlamps. It has 18-inch wheels. This middle trim Land Cruiser has the slim rectangular headlamps, available 20-inch wheels. And then you can go for the limited first edition model. Not many of those will be made. It comes with round headlamps, 20-inch wheels. You get a roof rail, rock rails, first edition mud flaps, and also an upgraded engine skid plate.
What I don't know, Andrea, is after the initial launch and they have that first edition, are they going to replace that with just a limited trim? Like they have a special first edition, but will this one end up being the top trim? I don't know. I'll have to wait for 2020. With the next model year.
Well, what I'd like to see Toyota do is the package for the extra features that are available on this middle trim, add it to the 1958 model so that people have the option of not just getting cloth upholstery, but maybe soft text, because we found that the 1958 model with the cloth seats, they just didn't offer the support that this middle trim offers. They're just not as comfortable. Curious about the ground clearance of this model?
I'm curious about the ground clearance of this model.
8 inches. This video is brought to you by PDS Debt.
Now, if you owe money on your credit card or other sources, it can be very, very stressful. You're making payments every month, but you never, ever really get ahead.
And when you fall behind, it really affects your credit score. So for example, if you were buying a car and you haven't paid off your debt or made an effort to pay off your debt, it can really affect your interest rates. It's great to come up with a plan. It will make you feel like you're getting ahead, getting that debt paid down, and give you a little bit more confidence.
PDS Debt has customizable options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills.
PDS Debt has an understanding that each situation is different and can provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free.
Now, if you've accumulated debt, you can get a free assessment. Doesn't matter whether you have a good credit score or a bad credit score.
And once you get from under that mountain of debt, you're just going to feel so much better.
PDS Debt is offering a free debt analysis. It only takes 30 seconds. Head over to pdsdebt.com/motormouth to get a free debt assessment today, or click on the link in the description below. I just want to do one thing, Andrea.
Good power, just a little buzzy.
A little thrashy.
Yeah.
All right, what is pretty good though is the interior. I like the simplicity. There's real buttons and switches for everything. Buttons on the steering wheel, buttons for the HVAC controls, buttons for the terrain settings, all that stuff. I like me some buttons, Andrea.
Yeah, buttons are great. Not everything is done into the screen. I like that as well. Hey, this has got a real truck-like interior. It's not super fancy. I like how it's laid out. Plenty of storage, whether it's at the center console or in the door pockets. This comes standard with cloth upholstery. Soft text is available, as is leather, depending on how much you want to spend and what trim you go for.
And one thing we're really disappointed about is the heated front seats are not hot at all.
Ventilated front seats are much better. They are cooler. And another feature that this doesn't get are heated rear seats.
For what they're charging, forget about it.
Too much.
So Toyota wants more of your money, Andrea, because something like a sunroof, some people, if they're real off-roaders, won't want that, but average commuters might. You have to get this trim. So you forgo the round headlamps to get a sunroof. And by the way, you have to spend a lot more money. It's kind of odd packaging.
Yeah, and in the US, you actually have to add the moonroof as an a la carte item to this trim. Doesn't come with the middle trim like it does in Canada, so that's something to think about.
Now, we want you to stick around for our vital stats because we're going to get into the price of this thing. And if you don't know the price of the Land Cruiser, you might be a little shocked.
Now, in our test model with the premium package, we've got the dual 12.3-inch screens in here, which I really like the look. Very streamlined. It does come standard with an 8-inch touchscreen, 7-inch driver display. So just feel like you get so much more with this middle trim, even if you don't add the package. Things like a power driver seat, wireless charger, ventilated front seats, a 10-speaker audio system. In the US, the wireless charger is actually in a package.
Now, other available features, whether you get the package or the first edition model, include driver's seat memory, leather upholstery, head-up display, power passenger seat, the 14-speaker JBL sound system, and a center console cooler box. This is going to come up again in questions, coffee, and cars. Here's me getting in the back seat. It looks big on the outside. It isn't really that big on the inside. How does it stack up?
Comparing the Land Cruiser to the four-door Jeep Wrangler, the Land Cruiser has 33 inches of front row legroom and 26.7 inches of second row legroom. Both areas are smaller than the Jeep.
Here's me lifting up the power liftgate on this trim, and it does have a big cargo area, but the floor sits a little bit higher because they have to make room for the battery pack. How does that stack up?
Overall cargo space for the Land Cruiser is 37.5 cubic feet, which is larger than the Wrangler. The Land Cruiser also comes with a full-size spare tire.
Not surprised you've got questions about this one.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
I'm deciding between Land Cruiser First Edition and the Lexus GX. Nervous about possible engine issues. After driving both, do you have a preference between vehicles?
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Land
GX.
Cruiser. See, we disagree. I prefer the Land Cruiser. I just love the look. Don't get me wrong, I like the GX as well, but I just love the vibe of this Toyota.
I just love the vibe of the Lexus GX. I honestly think, Andrea, there's more value in the Lexus. I know it's more money, but when you get up to the top trim of this, you just go a little bit farther, you're driving a Lexus. Yes, they had a recall on the 3.4 liter twin turbo. They're replacing 100,000 engines. So as we always say, even with Toyota now, maybe don't buy the first year of production, but I would still think that in the long run, that's the one I would want.
And I think that you'll find when you get into this Land Cruiser, it has a real truck-like feel. As we said off the top, it doesn't eat up those imperfections in the road. The GX does a better job of that, so it really comes down to what you want. I also think the interior of the GX is a little bit nicer than this. This is a Lexus.
You're coming over to my camp, Andrea.
But I prefer the Land Cruiser. It's just more me. Do you think this will fit infant car seats comfortably? I'm really looking at this for my family vehicle.
It's big on the outside. Not that big on the inside.
No, you can fit them for sure. You can put one on each side. There are no anchors in the middle seat, so you can't put 3 across. But for sure, you will fit a car seat. I watched a video of a gentleman who's 5'10". He had the car seats, he had a rear facing and a forward facing, and it didn't leave him a lot of space in the front row, but you can make it work. I think it really comes down to how tall are you.
Andrea, you could make it work with a Toyota Yaris. You can make it work with this.
Debating between this or the Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid. Going to drive to Whistler for skiing for 2 of us mostly. Like the XC60 for comfort, but Land Cruiser seems to be more reliable long term. What are your thoughts? I think if you're looking for refinement and comfort level, eating up those perfections in the road, a more upscale interior, definitely the XC60 is the way to go.
You got to decide what you want, friend. Do you want a body on frame, pickup truck based SUV, Land Cruiser, or do you want a car based luxury plug-in hybrid? I mean, they're totally different.
Night and day.
I would almost suspect that the Volvo has more rear seat legroom. Is that a guy? Listen, just get what your wife wants. Then you'll be happy.
Get what you both want and enjoy your vehicle.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Don't know who's going to spend so much money for this. Is this really something that Toyota fans would buy?
So still to come, vital stats. We are going to run through the pricing for Canada and the United States. I'll just give you a little snapshot. This thing is spendy. you have to look at a honeymoon period, Andrea. The first 18 to 24 months. All of the Land Cruiser guys that just have to have this and are willing to spend the money. Once that passes, then you see what the market really thinks of this. I still think it's going to sell well just because it's a Toyota truck.
Oh, I think so too. I've already seen 5 on the road here in Vancouver. I couldn't believe it. Variety of different people driving it. It's iconic. There's so much heritage and history with this model. People who want this are not going to care about the price point. Do I wish it had a lower starting price, especially in Canada? Of course. But viewers who have written into Instagram say that the previous model was really expensive as well.
Totally different product,
Yeah.
but yes, it was more expensive. The thing is, there's a lot of people with money. You might not have it, but there are a lot of people with money who will pony up to buy this thing.
And it's a hybrid.
And it's a hybrid. All right, let's get into the price and more in our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. Canadian pricing includes freight, PDI, and fees. The 1958 model starts at just over $72,000, and the Land Cruiser with the premium package that we're test driving is just over $86,000. In the US, the 1958 model starts at just under $56,000, and the Land Cruiser premium package just over $66,500.
Here's the fuel economy: 10.7 liters per 100 kilometers city, 9.5 on the highway. That's 22 miles per gallon city, 25 miles per gallon highway. Toyota offers a warranty of 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, or 36,000 miles. In the United States, complimentary scheduled maintenance is offered for 2 years or 25,000 miles. So you want to buy an off-roader. We have 3 that are true body on frames and 1 that's a unibody. Let's get into it.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is a Jeep Wrangler 4-door with a 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, 285 horsepower and a starting price over $51,000.
The Ford Bronco 4-door with a 2.3-liter EcoBoost, 300 horsepower and a starting price under $50,000.
The new Toyota 4Runner. The base engine is a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 278 horsepower. Pricing has not been announced yet.
And the only unibody on this list is the Land Rover Defender 110 with a base 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 296 horsepower and a starting price just over $79,000.
So there are 4 off-road capable SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round: 2 things we like, 2 things we'd like to see improved.
Come on, love the looks of this thing.
The throttle response is fantastic.
I wish it was quieter. The engine is a little bit buzzy for a hybrid.
Yeah, they need to smooth that out. It could have a better exhaust note, that's for sure. Well, there it is. It's the all-new Land Cruiser, one of the most hyped vehicles of this year. What do you think of that?
Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe. We'll see you next time.